All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to roll the clock back more than 2,000 years, deep into the past, to check out ancient India's first ever superpower. This was a colossal empire that didn't just rule, it literally changed the course of history. So picture this, the Indian subcontinent, but not as we know it today. Instead, it's this incredibly complex patchwork of different kingdoms, different territories, all competing with each other. The big question is, how did this fragmented world get unified for the very first time? I mean, what kind of force could be powerful enough to pull all of that together? And the answer? Well, it all comes down to one name, the Mauryan Empire. This was the absolute powerhouse that rose up and forged the very first pan-Indian empire. We're talking about an achievement on a scale that is just staggering to think about. So, where did a story like this even begin? Every great story has a visionary at its heart, and for the Mauryan Empire, it all kicks off with the ambition of one truly remarkable person. Meet Chandragupta Maurya. Around 322 BCE, from his power base in a kingdom called Magadha, this is the guy who laid the foundation for everything. He was the catalyst, the one who lit the fuse for this whole imperial saga. The empire's story is really dominated by three key rulers, one after another. It all starts with Chandragupta, the founder. Then his son Bindusara takes the reins and makes the empire even bigger. And finally, his grandson Ashoka comes along and takes the whole thing to its absolute peak. Each generation just built on what the last one started. And the heart of this whole massive operation? It was the capital city, Pataliputra, which is near modern-day Patna. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just some political center. It was a vibrant, buzzing hub of culture, of trade, and of immense, incredible power. Okay, now we really have to talk about Emperor Ashoka. His time on the throne wasn't just the empire's golden age. It was this period defined by an amazing story of conquest, a deep personal transformation, and a totally radical new way of thinking about how to rule. So, under Ashoka, the Mauryan Empire got as big as it would ever be. But honestly, his real legacy, the thing he's remembered for, is his conversion to Buddhism. And this wasn't just a private belief for him. He made it the guiding philosophy for his entire empire. Just look at this shift. It's like night and day. Before his conversion, Ashoka was all about military expansion and taking territory by force. But afterwards, he completely changed his focus. He started promoting peace and what he called conquest by dharma, or moral duty. And this was just political genius, using a shared ethical code to unify this huge, diverse population. He started wielding cultural influence instead of just pure military might. It's a truly incredible transformation. Now, an empire this enormous doesn't just run itself. So how did the Mauryans actually manage it all? What was the engine that was powering this ancient superpower behind the scenes? What's so amazing here is the level of organization, especially for the time. This wasn't just ruling by the sword. It was a really sophisticated government. They had officials called Rajukas, who were basically like provincial governors, and Nagarikas, who you could think of as city mayors. This centralized system was revolutionary. It was the software that let them actually govern such a huge and diverse territory effectively. And all that administrative skill was backed up by some serious economic muscle. I mean, the empire was thriving. It had trade networks stretching all over, super efficient agriculture feeding millions of people, and bustling commercial centers. And to protect the whole shebang, they had a massive professional standing army, a very clear symbol of their power. But you know how these stories go. No empire lasts forever. So let's turn to the end of the Mauryan story, and maybe more importantly, the incredible legacy it left behind that we can still see today. So the decline wasn't just one big event. It was more like a slow unraveling. After Ashoka, the leaders who followed just didn't have his vision. The huge empire started to crack from the inside, weakened by arguments and new threats popping up on its borders. The final nail in the coffin came when the last Mauryan ruler, a man named Brihadratha, was assassinated. And that was it. The year was about 1850 BCE. After 137 years, the Mauryan dynasty was over. So, why do we still talk about it? Why does it still matter? Because its legacy is absolutely monumental. It gave the world the very idea of a unified India, a concept that would echo for thousands of years. It created a blueprint for how to govern that future empires would copy for centuries. And through Ashoka, it helped turn Buddhism from a local faith into a major world religion. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. By bringing together this diverse, fragmented land, the Mauryan Empire created a philosophy of rule that is echoed through time. So the question for us today is this: what can an empire from 2,300 years ago teach our modern, often divided world about unity and governance? Something to think about, right?